Every big win starts long before game day. On any given Monday, we go where cameras don't. Behind the contracts, the calls, and the chaos. We'll road trip with scouts, visit iconic campuses, step inside replay booths, and walk up to the luxury suites. Real organizations, real stories, real decisions. Lace up your cleats, buckle your chin strap. Here comes our GM, Matthew Miley.
Today, our guest on Any Given Monday is Dr. Brian Turner, a professor of sport management at The Ohio State University and is an expert in sports marketing. And I made sure to wear this The shirt because, when everyone sees this, they know it's The Ohio State University. It's one of the best marketing things for college out there. And Dr. Turner earned his Bachelor of Science degree in secondary education from Baylor and his Master's of Education degree in physical education from Tarleton State. He received his PhD in sports management from Ohio State in 2001. Dr. Turner has held positions as Director of Sports Management at DeSales University and visiting assistant professor at Oklahoma. He has published over 60 peer-reviewed articles and made over 100 presentations at national and international conferences. In 2017, Dr. Turner was named NASSM's Distinguished Educator of the Year. Dr. Turner has also served on the Athletic Council at OSU. So, Professor Turner, I wanted to have you on because I've had on several guests that have me think about sports marketing. Casey Mesa, who was the Director of Luxury Suite Services for the Dallas Cowboys. Will Versano, who was the Director of Business Development and Operations for the Boston Common Golf. Beth Hunter, Director of Game Day Operations and Experiences at Notre Dame. Without fan engagement and revenue coming in from sponsorships and ticket sales, the games and teams aren't the same. Youth sports are a huge business too. Your textbook notes that sports is a special experience, and 9 of the 10 most watched U.S. TV programs are Super Bowls. So my first question here is, what does that reveal about sports reach, and how is sports marketing different from normal consumer marketing?
Yeah, first, thanks for having me, Matthew. I really appreciate it. Seeing your podcast, I looked over several, just very impressed. So, with your question, with the Super Bowls, if you're like me, I watch very little live TV. Everything I watch is on Netflix or Apple. I can watch it on my own. You really can't do that with sport, and that's why it's the Super Bowl every year is the most watched event. It's why advertisers pay $8 million for a 30-second ad because they know people are going to see it. It's become, even if you're not a huge football fan, it's a cultural phenomenon. Everybody watches the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. And then the second part of your question, you're wearing a shirt that says the most common name or common word in the English dictionary, the.
Mhm.
If it's in scarlet and gray, everybody knows what that's about.
Yeah.
Especially here in Ohio, it's an amazing marketing campaign. So the question you ask about how is it different from other or traditional marketing, that's the first thing I talk about in my undergrad and grad sport marketing classes. Uh, a typical business is going to have customers. In sports, we have fans.
Yeah.
When you think about it, the passion involved. I have an Ohio State shirt on. I don't have a shirt that has my favorite toothpaste on it.
Mhm.
So you're advertising, you wearing that shirt, and I've seen others that you've done on your podcast. I really like how you try to brand to the guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
But you're promoting Ohio State by wearing that shirt. So not many businesses can say that. If I own a car dealership, I have to advertise to get people to come. There's a story about your team every day in the sports pages on the internet. So very different than traditional marketing.
Yeah. And speaking on fans, also in your book, I read a little bit about the psychology, and you describe Berging fans and Corfing fans. So, can you explain the qualities of Berging and Corfing, and explain what they mean?
Yeah,
And I feel like I'm personally guilty of both. And how does fan attitudes shape sport marketing?
yeah. For the first part, this comes from the most cited study in sport marketing literature, sport management literature, a study done by a professor named Robert Cialdini, who was a visiting professor in the psychology department here at Ohio State. When he conducted the study in the 70s, his office was actually in the stadium. If you don't know, Ohio Stadium, especially at that time, had dorm rooms, offices, still a few offices, but that's where Cialdini was set up. And he saw all these people wearing Ohio State apparel. So he thought, well, let's investigate this. So the idea of burgeoning or basking in reflective glory, we all want to feel good about ourselves. So, consciously or subconsciously, when our team wins, we always say we won.
Hmm.
And I asked
Yeah.
this question in class to start this topic. Who won the Ohio State football game last weekend? And inevitably, students are going to say, we did. And unless you were on that team, how much did you really play in that win? So, the idea of basking in reflective glory, you say we instead of they. And then we also wear the apparel after a big win. Myself and a few colleagues replicated this study at about 7 different universities 40 years after the original study and found it was still true today. A Monday after a big win by your football team, more people are going to wear your school's apparel. On the other hand, corfing or cutting off reflected failure is when we try to disassociate with that team. We don't wear that apparel. Your team loses tonight, you might not be wearing your apparel tomorrow. And instead of saying we lost, it's they lost.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I visited a few sports marketing programs. And one thing that was told to me is that big corporations spend so much on sports marketing that many sports management majors go on to work for these other companies, not directly in sports, but in a corporation's, yeah, own marketing department. What should people like me who are interested in the big experiences in sports and sports international reach be thinking about when considering our academic path?
Yeah, and in Columbus here, we have one of the big sponsors of sports in Nationwide. An alum of ours runs the sport marketing department with Nationwide. They have great contracts with the NFL. They sponsor the NFL Man of the Year award. You see Peyton on Nationwide commercials. So it's definitely a possibility to work for one of these corporations, agencies that use sport to promote their products. So I would say more than anything, gaining experience in sport. You need to know
Mhm.
everything you can about it. Read. There's so many good newsletters out there, podcasts, when you can learn kind of what you're doing on any given Monday. So learning the business side of sport.
Yeah.
Communicate, I always will say communication skills, both written and oral, are a key. If you can speak well and you can write well, you can probably find a niche in sport.
Yeah. Yeah. And so in your academic career, what technology shifts like social media apps and real-time fan interaction have been game changers? And for example, one thing you wrote about a little bit was NASCAR's Fan and Media Engagement Center.
Yeah, I guess the biggest, and it's hard to believe you're still very young, but we didn't always have Twitter or X or Instagram. Both are about 15 to 20 years old.
Hmm.
So it has brought the fan closer to the athletes, to the teams. You can follow your favorite athletes, see what they're doing, get a behind the scenes look. Used to not be the case. I know Ohio State does a great job here with their social media, having a film for every game during football season, having a little hype video before every game. So you get to see behind the scenes. It makes you feel closer to the action.
Yeah.
And the same thing with NASCAR. It was all about their fans. They had a case competition that I led a team uh, many, many years ago. They wanted to get a broader demographic. so they can connect with their fans through social media. So by far, I think that's been the biggest addition in the TV rights. At one time, we saw, one NBA game a week on Sunday afternoon.
Hmm.
And it was typically the Lakers and Celtics, maybe the 76ers every now and then, but it was typically just a handful of teams. But now you can watch pretty much any NBA game that you want. You can through the League Pass, but even just through regular, ESPN, now with NBC involved, there's a game pretty much on every night. And the same thing with other sports. I'm a big college football fan, so
Yeah.
pretty much any game I want to watch, I can find.
Yeah. And something that also goes on with this new technology and stuff is sports betting is much more widespread now than it ever has been. I mean, it's really, you see it getting promoted all the time. But has the marketing of sports betting been too good? I mean, you look at like Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier, those Guardians pitchers that were just recently accused of taking bribes and indicted. What are the ethics of openly promoting gambling on readily available apps that are tied to bank accounts?
Yeah, I just went to a session last week. I'm part of the Sport and Society Initiative at Ohio State, and let me put in a plug for that, sportsandsociety.osu.edu. They
Hmm.
put on some incredible events. So we had a gambling panel. There was an executive for FanDuel. And yes, uh, you know, I guess it was only legal in Vegas for a long time. Now we're up to 39 states. Missouri just became the 39th state with legalized sports wagering, along with the District of Columbia. So a majority of the United States, you can place legal bets. The idea, I think, behind it was there was so much illegal gambling going on. Well, let's regulate it.
Hmm.
But what was said in this panel discussion was there's still more illegal bets than legal bets, which, surprised me. I was under the impression, yeah, now people can do it legally, they'll do it legally. It's not necessarily the case. The situation with the Guardians was wild when you're betting on pitches, where a pitcher could on purpose throw a ball,
Yeah.
and if the gamblers knew, obviously they could make money. It just came out that they are limiting that, I believe, to $250
Hmm.
now for a per pitch. So to try to alleviate that, do these outfits like DraftKings, FanDuel do a great job of marketing? It would be hard to argue that they don't. They do have safeguards in place, and they really push responsible gambling, setting limits. All the apps now, you can't bet more than X amount in a given day or X amount on a given bet. So
Hmm.
uh, they're trying to do their best, in my mind. Uh, could everyone do better? I know Governor DeWine here in Ohio, he got rid of prop bets with individual student athletes. So you can't bet on how many touchdowns Jeremiah Smith's going to score this
Yeah.
weekend in Ohio. So that helps, I think, with the mental health, the attacking of the student athletes when they don't perform as well as somebody expected them to, and they lost bets. So, you know, it's it's a good question. It's really, a societal issue. Where are we going to place our values on gambling?
Yeah. And then what can sport do to make the world better? And what role does sport marketing play in that?
Yeah, it's another great question. I loved all your questions. Uh, you know, for that 3 hours that we play a game, you can escape
Hmm.
from everyday life. You can just worry about that game. It can bring different groups together. Sports is worldwide. When looking at the Olympics coming to the U.S. in just 3 years, it's going to be really neat to see, the world come together for those 2 weeks that the Olympics are played here on American soil. So it can bring, again, a diverse group of people together for, fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Also have the World Cup. I believe that's next
World
year
Cup
too.
coming up. I was disappointed. We didn't get one here. We didn't get any matches here in Columbus. Apparently, we are hosting a team. One of the teams they haven't announced yet is going to be based here in Columbus, and then they'll travel to the different locations. I guess the closest site we have is Toronto,
Yeah.
maybe. And then on the East Coast, there's several. Disappointed, we've done well as host, but understandable.
Yeah. Yeah. That's still cool.
Yeah.
So from data analytics to fan emotion, sports marketing touches both head and heart. How do you balance these forces when you teach or consult?
Yeah, and everybody in our program, if you major in sport management, you love sports, you're passionate about sports. The first thing I tell students, you have to get rid of your fandom. If I own a club, I don't care that you've always followed my team, you're passionate about my team. I want to know what you can do to add value to my team. How can you add revenue to my team? So you really have to balance that fandom versus your job. You have to delineate it. You have to
Mm.
separate your fandom because this is your job.
Yeah. So now let's jump over to OSU sports management specifically. Is what sets OSU's program apart nationally, and what do you like to tell people my age about the undergraduate program?
Great point. And I always want to promote our program. We have about 700 undergraduate majors. We have about 40 to 50 master students at any given time. And we also have a doctoral program with about 12 to 15 students. So with our undergraduate sport industry program, I think what separates us, we're in one of the larger cities that has a sport management program. Columbus is the 15th largest city in the country. So we have the Blue Jackets in the NHL. We have the Crew in Major League Soccer. We have the AAA affiliate of the Cleveland Guardians here, the Columbus Clippers, all in a great area. With the new Crew Stadium, lower.com, they're within 2 or 3 blocks of each other in the downtown, the Arena District. We also have a great sports commission that brings incredible events to Columbus. We're hosting the Women's Final Four in another year, 27, and the women's volleyball Final Four that later that same year. And I forgot to mention, we also have the Columbus Fury, a professional women's volleyball team that
Yeah.
plays in Nationwide Arena also. So if you're into pro sports, we have you covered. We're the headquarters of the Ohio High School Athletic Association for high school sports. So a lot of championships, in the area. We just finished the soccer's here at historic Crew Stadium. But then probably our biggest selling point is Ohio State athletics.
Hmm.
We sponsored 36 sports, arguably the largest athletic department in the country. We have an incredible relationship. Thanks to our prior AD, Gene Smith, and our current AD, Ross Bjork. They're big proponents of our program. And our students have an opportunity to work, NCAA events at, the highest level. Most of our master students work in some form or fashion in athletics in one of the departments, but then a lot of our undergrads do the same. So you get incredible experience. If you're into recreation, we have the largest collegiate recreation department in the country.
Hmm.
Incredible facilities, incredible breadth of programs. So no matter what area you want to work in sports, we probably have you covered here at Ohio State. Our master's program has historically been ranked in the top 10 in the country. We have alums all over the world.
Yeah. And how does Ohio State integrate research, classroom instruction, and industry partnerships within that undergraduate program?
Yeah, those, again, being in the Columbus area, incredible industry partners. A majority of, I would say, our undergrads are more looking to be practitioners. So research really isn't the focus for our undergrads. We do offer a research class, so you do learn how to conduct research for your sport organization. But the majority of our students want to work in sports. So we require an internship of all of our undergrads and our master students. So you're going to be able to have that experience, which to me is a key. When you're applying for jobs, they're going to look at your resume and see what have you done in sport. So it's obviously doing well in school, having high grades. but it's also about getting as many experiences as you can to separate yourself. Some of our entry level positions in Ohio State athletics will be two or 300 people.
Hmm.
So how are you going to separate yourself from the others? And inevitably, it's going to be what have you done? What experience do you have in the sport?
Yeah. And let's talk about a little bit of your experience here. Is you've mentored student athletes and future professionals, and one notable alumni that I found that you worked with is Marcus Freeman. So, with when you worked with Coach Freeman when he was a student, did you know he was special early on?
Yeah, and I met Marcus when he was probably his junior year. He was in one of my undergrad sport marketing class. He had had an injury his sophomore year, so he graduated and had another year of eligibility. So he applied and was accepted into our master's program. An incredible student. I always found Marcus to be very mature. He was with us in the spring and fall. He finished his football eligibility and was drafted and went on to play for a couple of NFL teams. Unfortunately, he had a health condition where he couldn't pass a physical, so his professional career ended. Thanks to Coach Tressel bringing him back as a GA, he came and finished his degree. Went on to Kent State, Purdue, Cincinnati, and now obviously at Notre Dame. We've stayed in touch since. Just an incredible young man. I was in South Bend a couple of summers ago. Texted him. He said, "Oh, you got to stop by." So went to his office, spent an hour or so just catching up. It's like we hadn't seen each other in a few years, but we can always pick up the phone, and it's like we never missed each other. Uh, I always will tell him I will cheer for Notre Dame every game except when they play Ohio State. And he was fine with that. But yeah, back to your original question, there was something special about Marcus. Dedication. He came back because if you're probably too young to remember, they had lost to LSU in the championship game after losing to Florida the year before the championship game. So him and some of the uh, upperclassmen decided they were going to come back, similar to what the football team did last year.
Hmm.
They came back, didn't quite reach their goal, but he did get his master's degree with us.
Yeah. And when you see those former students succeed in life, what is most rewarding about that?
You said it. That's the most rewarding part of my job. Seeing, students go on, take what they learned here and move on. An interesting stat, I think we have 8 women playing professionally in one sport or the other. So we have JC Sheldon in the WNBA. We have several playing in the new Women's Professional Hockey League. Uh, we have 2 playing in the new Professional Women's Volleyball League. And I ran into one. We had a student come to us already 2 Olympic medals from women's ice hockey.
Wow.
And she was, 23, 24 years old. She made the Olympics as an 18-year-old and as a 22-year-old. And hopefully, her name is Kayla Barnes. And I ran into her at an alumni event just a couple of weeks ago. Incredible seeing what she's done. And, that's her job. She gets to play hockey for a living. And I mentioned this to the women's ice hockey coach here. Who would have thought, 5 years ago, we would have all of these opportunities for women playing professional sports?
Yeah.
But hopefully Kayla will be on that next Olympic women's ice hockey team here coming up in 2026. But besides our student athletes, just seeing people, succeed in the business world of sport. I keep in touch with a lot of our alums. Your podcast is great.
Hmm.
One of the projects we did this semester in my graduate sport marketing class is reignite a podcast we started during COVID.
Oh
So
yeah.
all of our students are interviewing alums, and I wanted it to be recent alums. So I picked some alums that were within 5 years of graduating, and we're going to have a podcast. They've already wrapped up the interviews. We'll probably start it in January. So be on the lookout for Ohio State Sport Management podcast.
Oh yeah.
They're
For
still
sure.
toying with the name, what it's going to be called. But 13 alums I reached out to, all of them came back and said right away, count me in. I'm willing to help out. So you're going to hear from one of our alums who's with the college football playoff system. She did an internship with him and was hired shortly thereafter. Cleveland Cavaliers, a lot in college sports. We have a professional women's volleyball player that is being interviewed. So uh, it's great hearing from the alums and them saying great things about our program,
Yeah.
which makes it worthwhile.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you were a member of OSU's athletic council and past chair of its physical committee. What did you do in those roles?
Yeah, the Athletic Council at Ohio State is a group of faculty, staff, undergraduate students, graduate students, professional student, one student athlete who helps provide oversight for athletics. And it allows the athletic director, Ross Bjork, to run ideas past him to see, what policies are needed to make sure the student athletes, our goal is to make sure the student athletes have the best experience they possibly can. And one of the responsibilities when I was chair of fiscal is we approve ticket prices for football, men's basketball, and the golf course. So, athletic council, it comes to us from the athletic department. These are the prices we would like to have for football next year. We approve it, and then it ultimately goes to the board of trustees who have final say in there. So it was a great committee to serve on. Learned a lot about the ins and outs about Ohio State athletics, and hopefully provided some guidance to athletic administrators from faculty and staff's perspectives.
Yeah. So what role should collegiate athletics play in society? And do you think collegiate sports are starting to overshadow academics now?
I hope not. That would hurt my job as a faculty member. Uh, it is the biggest changes we've ever seen in college sports these last few years between the House settlement, NIL. It is changing drastically. So, I hope it doesn't overshadow college. When you look at our athletic budget, it's minuscule compared to the budget of the university.
Hmm.
We have the great medical complex here on campus. So athletics absolutely plays a major role. It helps build, to me, that community. It was unbelievable to see the Buckeyes win the national championship last year in football. It brought Buckeyes from across the world together. If you become an alum of Ohio State, no matter where you go, they always say you're going to find an alum. I
Hmm.
lead a study abroad trip to Europe every year. Inevitably, we are going to see some Ohio State alums there, and they'll give the OH to us. So it was a point of pride, I think, for not just Ohio State, any college.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now going something that's pretty recent. Is that a guest on last week, Bob Bolin? Bob is a practicing attorney and sports law professor at Seton Hall Law School. He and his law partners represent major college coaches, including Brian Kelly, formerly of LSU, and several prominent athletic directors. We see these huge buyouts for coaches and now litigation down at LSU. Do you think these eye popping numbers are healthy, or is there going to be some kind of reset soon?
Yeah, and I'm very familiar with Mr. Boland's work, an incredible attorney. So that was definitely a coup to have him on your show. Uh, you know, to me, and we talk about, coaches' salaries in general. It's market driven. You know, uh, somebody sets the bar, and if you have somebody better, they're probably going to ask for more. These buyouts are, insane. And what's come out at LSU, since Brian Kelly was apparently terminated, but they're saying now that he wasn't formally terminated. The governor of the state got involved. Why are we paying $53 million to someone who's not working for us? I don't know if you can. I don't know how you can change it without an antitrust exemption. I mean,
Hmm.
if the coach negotiates that, the school is willing to pay that amount. I don't know how you can change it.
Yeah. And now, as an academic flagship Big 10 university, and just as a sports fan, how do you see the next 5 years of college athletics playing out?
Yeah, I wish I could put had a crystal ball and could determine because 5 years ago I would not have predicted what we're going through right now.
Hmm.
Pre-NIL, pre house settlement, the revenue sharing. We have multi-million dollar student athletes here on our campus as there are across the country. Could have never predicted that. Uh, I think there'll be some stabilization. We saw it 5 to 10 years ago with schools changing conferences. The Big Ten now has 18 schools, four on the West Coast. It's probably stabilized. I'm not sure how much more we're going to move in that, direction as far as conference realignment. Uh, to answer your question, I wish I had a great answer
Yeah.
for you. I don't know what's going to happen next year. Much less 5 years down the road. I think we're going to see more and more at Ohio State and a lot of schools probably investing in artificial intelligence. I'm going to a session tomorrow where we've got great partners with Google and Microsoft as far as having our students all being AI fluent by the time they graduate. That's one of the initiatives our provost has set forward. And I think we're still learning how AI is going to affect sports.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now, if you could change one thing about how collegiate athletics operate today in any sport, what would it be?
Ooh, another incredible question. I I love in general the way college sports has evolved. One of the issues I worry and have always worried about, are we pricing out our fans? To go to, that Ohio State Texas game to start the season.
Hmm.
The cheapest ticket you could get was, a couple $100s. So how many people can afford that? And it only goes up every year. The prices of tickets are going to continue to go up. So is the average fan going to be able to go to games? And if they can't go to games, yeah, they can watch it on TV, but how invested are they?
Yeah.
So I always worry uh, about pricing. The prices are not going to go down, but at what point are we going to price out our everyday fans?
Yeah. And now, jumping from things that you want to change, what innovations or trends coming in the future excite you?
Yeah, I think I mentioned AI. I think that is, incredible. It's an incredible tool. Just curious how, sports organizations are going to use it. For a long time, and they've used it in marketing to, identify those fans, come up with packages on an individual basis. Maybe you can't buy season tickets. Maybe you can only buy a half season ticket or a quarter game season ticket. So continuing the use of AI, I'm excited,
Yeah.
to see how this comes. Social media continues to evolve. Who would have thought, again, 10 years ago, what X and Instagram and TikTok have been able to do to help promote our sports? And, on an individual level, how it's helped student athletes really sell themselves as far as NIL. They've become celebrities.
Yeah, for sure. And this one also might kind of be a hard question to answer, but how do you think sports management programs will look in, say, 5, 10 years?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to continue to evolve. It's about revenue generation. If you're working in college in professional athletics, even in the nonprofit sector, uh, you have to generate revenue to survive and to reach your goals, do the things you want to do. So I think we're going to continue to investigate revenue streams. I mean, the big news out of the Big Ten recently is the potential private equity, investment.
Hmm.
And if this is successful at the Big Ten, it's going to be the case for a lot of sports leagues, at the college and professional level. So uh, where I see us, down the road, continuing to be innovative as far as generating revenue.
Okay. What legacy do you hope to leave at Ohio State and
Uh,
in the broader field?
At Ohio State, I hope students look back and say, man, he really cared about us.
Hmm.
He really helped us reach our goals. Uh, if students think that way, I've had an unbelievable career. I've had an unbelievable career, but to continue that, for that to be my legacy, here at Ohio State, in the field in general, leaving it better than when I started. I've been at Ohio State 21 years. So I'm, moving towards the end of my career. It's not imminent, but
Hmm.
it'll happen, in the very near future. So hopefully people look back and say, he was a good person. He helped us and he helped promote sport.
Yeah. And after decades of studying how sport connects people, what still surprises you about it?
Yeah, the passion of fans, you know,
Hmm.
logically. If my team wins tonight, should I be happier? Should I be disappointed if they lose? In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? But it does. And
Yeah.
that's what makes sports so unique. Uh, I don't know if I will ever, or anybody will completely understand the passion that fans have for their particular team. We have a lot of, being in Ohio, we have a lot of Browns fans in class. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't won a championship in my lifetime. And I turned 60 last month. So, but they still will follow. They'll live and die with the Browns. And they'll live and die with the Browns, the rest of their lives. So logically, it doesn't make sense. But tell that to a Browns fan. They will back the Browns forever.
Hmm.
There's always, the eternal optimism. It's going to happen sometime. I'm sure Cavs fans, thought that. And when LeBron came back, I felt so great for the city of Cleveland. I have so many friends and family who are diehard Cleveland fans. If it's the Browns, the Guardians, the Cavs, they're always going to follow that Cleveland sports team. And for, the team to bring that championship with LeBron and Kyrie, just an incredible night. I will never forget watching that game 7 in my basement and thinking about all of those fans who have quote unquote suffered. Have they
Hmm.
really suffered? No. But they devoted a lot of their time to following the team.
Yeah.
So there's always that lightning in the bottle when your team might have a chance to win a championship out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And now it's time for my favorite part of all these shows is the lightning round. Got a couple quick answer questions
All
to
right, I'll
finish
do
it
my
up.
best.
All right. Best sports atmosphere. Baylor, Oklahoma, Ohio State.
Oh, Ohio State, without
Okay.
a doubt.
Okay.
And I love my undergraduate alma mater. Had a great year at the University of Oklahoma. But in Texas, there's a lot of teams.
Hmm.
So, and Baylor's a small private institution. Oklahoma, they had the rivalry with Oklahoma State. Ohio, it's incredible that across the state, everybody's an Ohio State fan.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's say now you get a ring on your phone, you look and you pick it up, and it's Marcus Freeman, and he's calling you to join his staff. Are you packing for South Bend?
I, I
Or
would tell him he's crazy, number one. But he does call. He's recommended students to our graduate program. Again, we have an incredible relationship. I probably cut you off before you ended that question. I'm sorry about that. So go ahead.
no, it's okay. So then, are you gonna go to Coach Day to see if you can get a leverage offer?
Yeah.
And what position you could be coaching?
Oh, yeah. Coach Day is great to have great conversations with him. I I, I think he would let Marcus have me.
Hmm.
Position coach. Everybody thinks they could be the quarterback coach, so we'll go with that.
Okay. So, where was Dr. Turner when Zeke ran through the heart of the South in 2015? And where were you last January when Jack Sawyer ran about 80 yards against Texas?
Yeah, for Zeke, it was right in front of me. I was at the game.
Wow.
Being on athletic council, we got to go to the uh, playoff game
Hmm.
at the time, the first playoff game against Alabama. Just probably my favorite game of all time. So he was right in front of me. I was about the 30-yard line or so, and to see that open up, just an incredible, incredible. feeling. With Jack, who's an alum of our undergraduate program, our sport industry major, uh, I was in my basement watching the game like everybody else. I thought about going down to Dallas, but they had a bad winter storm right
Yeah.
before the game, so it would have been difficult to get to. So watching it in my basement, an incredible play, one of my favorite plays. You picked out two great ones, uh, but then I had to go to the national championship. I was there in Atlanta when we beat Notre Dame.
Hmm. That's awesome. So now let's say all the OSU sports marketing professors play the team up north sports marketing professors in a game of football. Who wins and what plays are you making?
Ah, yeah. So I know a lot of the faculty at Team Up North in their sport management program. Uh, God, I would like to think we could win. We have a former Ohio State football player, Ben Buchanan, who was a punter on the undefeated team, Urban's first year.
Hmm.
So he's an incredible athlete, and I think he would let us win. Oh God, position. Uh, at 60 years old, just being out on the field would be an accomplishment. So any position would be okay. I think I still have good hands and can throw the ball, but
Yeah.
yeah.
If
No
you
offense to the team up north,
yeah,
but we are Ohio State.
yeah, yeah. If you weren't teaching sports management, where else would we be able to find you at OSU?
If I wasn't teaching sport management, you mean a different job or?
Just what else are you doing?
Uh, I'm taking on a lot of administrative roles, so you'd probably see me in some kind of administrative role. Uh, I'm a university senator, so we help set policies at the university. I'm on several committees. Work closely with athletics. I talk to a lot of our potential or prospective student athletes when they come to campus. It's one of my favorite things to do is to talk to students in general to try to promote our program. I'll always say the best part of my job is getting to work with students. They keep me young.
Hmm. Speaking of those students, what is one word you hope your students would describe you with?
I would like to say kind, in general,
Yeah.
passionate. Uh, I would say advocate. Hopefully, I'm an advocate for everything
Hmm.
they do. I write a ton of letters of recommendation. And one of the questions you asked earlier, seeing a student get a job, that's kind of the ultimate.
Yeah. And the final lightning round question here. If OSU were to retire your number at the shoe, what number are you picking and why?
Oh, great question. I don't think number one has been retired, so number one's always a great. Growing up, my favorite number was three. I don't
Hmm.
know if that would be the number, but yeah. Uh, I'd probably say one, which is also was also number Marcus wore here at
Yeah.
Ohio State.
Yeah. Final question here. What are you doing on any given Monday?
Yeah, I love this and the explanation behind the name of your podcast. I typically only teach on Tuesdays, Thursdays, so
Hmm.
Monday I'm doing a lot of administrative work and
Okay.
planning for the week. Planning for those classes. I could be grading depending on the time of year. We're getting towards the end of the semester, so there'll be a lot more grading on Mondays. Uh, pretty, I like having uneventful Mondays to get my week started, to kind of plan out, my schedule. The last few weeks have been pretty busy,
Hmm.
so just it's getting in the right mindset to, prioritize what needs to be done on any given week. So Monday is the great day for that.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. That's all I got for you today.
And I'm really honored, Matthew. And, I really appreciate your entrepreneurship. Starting this, as a high school student, I can't imagine myself, doing anything like this when I was in high school. So you're setting
Yeah.
yourself apart. you're learning. I watched the interview with your local affiliate there.
Yeah.
How nervous you were on that first one. I can see the growth looking through
Hmm.
all your podcasts. Again,
Thank
it's
you.
well, I watched the one with the women's basketball coach at Miami who was
Yeah.
incredible. And I can see the improvement from podcast to podcast. Keep up the great work. I hope you get some of your ideal podcast guests,
Yeah.
down the
We'll
road.
see.
So continue the work, and uh, hopefully we could see you as a Buckeye next year or in the coming
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. It'll be fun. And yeah,
Uh,
this podcast definitely has been a lot of fun. It's been great.
yeah, I've enjoyed talking to you for this short time. And again, please reach out, if I can help in the future.